Today I want to talk about photographing panoramas while traveling with our family. Be limited by or when you're on the tour, because in these situations you are going to be limited by the amount of gear that you can carry. Over the last 14 months, we've traveled to Tasmania twice. 2 trips were very different, but the one thing that was the same was the amount of gear that I could take. Not just because of weight, but also because I knew that the amount of time that I could take photos was going to be limited. So I prioritized the gear that I needed. So okay, I grabbed my camera, and some of the other stuff like filters and all that, I might just put by the wayside. I want to show you 2 photos before we start here. The first one here is just a 6x4 taken last year of the viewing area at Mount Wellington. Then this one here taken further back has a panorama. Can you see the differences? The 6x4 is very close, but look at the panorama. You have such a broader view. You can see Hobart down the bottom. It gives you a very good perspective of what you're seeing. And you can tell your friends and your extended family, wow, look at this. We went to Mount Wellington and the view from there was just spectacular. Today, I want to talk about my experiences from my recent holiday on the drawbacks of photographing handheld. If I take this off here, and we're just taking photos like this. We're not shooting around the nodal point. Like I'm looking up here and I'm just going like this. The camera's just all over the place, because to get perfect panoramas, you really need to have your camera on a tripod using a panoramic rotator and making sure that the nodal point is where it should be, so that you don't have any distortion when you're turning the camera around, because you're turning it on the nodal point. So taking a panoramic image is going to be easy. Now I'll put a link here on a video that I did quite a while ago, and it goes through all the scenarios of the differences between using a tripod and a panoramic rotator, using just a tripod or just handheld. Now let's run through some images and some of the drawbacks that you can have when you're shooting panoramas handheld. Now this panorama here was taken at Cradle Mountain with Dove Lake in the foreground and the famous boat shed off to the right. And I was at 24 mils. Remember, all these photos, there's no tripod involved, and the scene is very nice. And you can see I've done a fairly good job of keeping the camera straight. And this is what it looks like once I've corrected the horizon. Now you can see that the camera was actually pointing this way. So when I'm going to crop it like this, I've lost quite a bit. This is why I'm saying you've got to make sure that you try to keep it level across. It's very hard. You've got to understand that this is the drawback of shooting handheld. Now this panoramic image here shows you the drawbacks when you're trying to shoot very wide. Handheld compared to if I had the camera on a tripod with the panoramic rotator and with the nodal point set correctly. So I didn't have any parallax error because it's so wide as I'm shooting around. When you're shooting like this, you just have a tendency of just moving like this. And as I shot, I was actually just pointing down slightly, and I tried my best to keep it level. You can see here, I've got curvature. It is quite bad. Now, normally I don't shoot panoramas this wide handheld because I know the drawbacks. I just wanted this image for myself and also to show my Thai family of where we went, so they can have a perspective of what this place looked like. Look what happened when I straightened the horizon. At the end, it's gone up. Why? Because when I shot downwards. So when I corrected the horizon, everything that was down here has to come up here. There's going to be cropping involved. This is what it looks like when it's cropped. Still very nice. So don't be disappointed if you have to crop. Remember, we're on holidays. We do the best that we can, but we try to limit our errors by knowing the drawbacks of shooting handheld. Those panels were taken with the Nikon 24-85 at 24 mils. The next 2 here were taken with the Tokina 17-35. Shooting ultra wide, you get more view. It can have a lot of positives because you're getting more view, but you can also get more distortion. Don't think that, okay, when I go on holidays, I'm just going to shoot with an ultra-wide lens because I get everything in. There are drawbacks in both shooting with a 24mm and also shooting at 17mm ultra-wide, because both of them have their pros and both of them have their cons. This panorama was taken at 17mm. Can you see the problems that I got? You might think, yep, 17mm is really good, I get a lot in. The problem is when you're shooting with an ultra-wide angle lenses have problems with distortion. You've really got to try to keep the camera stable like that. Any movement up and down or sideways is really going to show up in your panorama, like it does here. It's just all over the place. It's a wave at the top, and look down the bottom. You can really see that it's cut in. I know this. This is why I decided to shoot at 17mm. This is what it looks like once I corrected the horizon in PT GUI. It looks very good, but you can still see down the bottom, I've got a big dip that I'm going to have to cut out. Now it is cropped. It gives you a very good perspective of what this area is. During the holidays, I only shot 2 panoramas using the Tokina 17-35, one at Queenstown and one here at Ben Lomond near Launceston. This was a spot that my wife really wanted to come to. The view from the top here is just beautiful. This is why I had to use the ultra wide at 17mm. Look at the mountain. This is what I really want to show. We've got these rocks just reaching for the sky. But also look, can you see I've got quite a few humps, and look down the bottom. It's stitched, but I've got quite a few gaps that are climbing up. And look at the edges. Can you see that it's like on a bevel? This is something that you have to think about when you're shooting ultra wides, and something that I used to teach when I would teach panoramic photography. I explained this, that you normally shoot a couple of extra frames on each side. The wider you go, the more of this angle you're going to get. The narrower you're shooting, like at 50mm, you're not going to get too much of a slant on the side. But the wider you go, the more of this slant you're going to get. So you have to count this in. You have to count that you're going to have to shoot a few extra frames on the side. This is what it looks like once I've straightened the horizon and once I've gotten rid of the curvature for the mountain. It starts off straight and then it just leans up on that side. Again, I'm going to lose about this much of the sky. The main focal point here are the mountains. And this is what it looks like when it's cropped. It gives me a very good view. And it really shows people what Ben Lomond looks like. Now, I hope this tutorial has shown you that you shouldn't just say, well, I'm not going to take panoramas on this holiday because I know I'm time pressed, I've got my family to deal with, or my group of friends don't want to hang out here too long, or on the tour, we've only got like 10-15 minutes at the scenic spot. I'm just going to take a couple of snapshots and that'll be enough. Give yourself time. Most of these panoramas only took me 2 to 3 minutes to take. They're worthwhile taking. You're showing your friends a 6x4 image of Cradle Mountain and Dove Lake. They're not going to see too much. You show them like, this is what Dove Lake looks like. They're going to go, wow, if we're going to Tasmania, this is a spot that I really want to go to. This is where panoramic photography comes in. Don't think negatively thinking that you're in a rush. 2 to 3 minutes, you've got your panorama, you can feel secure in your mind saying, okay, and you feel good saying, I got the shot that I wanted. So thanks for watching. If the video has been of help to you, give it a big thumbs up, stay safe, enjoy your photography, especially panoramic photography, and I'll see you next time.